"This is the happiest day of my life," my husband said as he toasted my pregnant sister. Then she announced he's the father and demanded financial support. So I called my lawyer right in front of everyone. Now she's begging me for help, but I shut the door in her face. Hi, Reddit. I don't even know how to process what just happened. My name is Claire, I'm 31, and until tonight, I thought my life was normal. Not perfect, my marriage had its rough patches, and my family has always been complicated. But I never expected my world to implode at my sister's baby shower. Emily and I have never been close. She's the golden child, our stepmother's favorite, the one who could do no wrong. Meanwhile, I was always the responsible one. The one expected to be the rock, the provider, the fixer. It's been that way since we were kids. Emily got dance lessons, designer clothes, a car for her 16th birthday. I got lectures about hard work and earning my place in the world. She got love. I got expectations. But I never resented her, not really. I told myself I didn't care, that I was better for not needing validation the way she did. I was wrong. I stood there, champagne glass in hand, surrounded by pastel balloons and a room full of people cooing over my glowing, pregnant sister. My husband, Ryan, was at the front of it all, his arm around her as if he belonged there. Then he lifted his glass. "To the woman carrying the most precious gift of all," Ryan said, his voice warm, reverent. "This is the happiest day of my life." Applause. Laughter. My father clapped him on the back, my stepmother beamed with pride. And me? I just stood there, frozen. It wasn't the words themselves that gutted me. It was the way he looked at her. The same way he used to look at me. "Congratulations, sis," I forced out when she reached me, her manicured fingers resting on her belly. "I didn't realize you and Ryan were so close." Her smile was a little too sharp. "Oh, we've been closer than you think." I barely heard my stepmother swoop in with a saccharine laugh, saying, "Claire, darling, let's not make this about you." I should have walked away. Should have thrown my drink in Ryan's face and left. But I didn't. Because some desperate, deluded part of me still hoped there was an explanation. Then Ryan handed Emily a gift. A small velvet box, tied with a gold ribbon. She made a show of gasping as she lifted the lid. Inside was a delicate gold bracelet, inscribed with 3 words. "For the mother of my child." The room spun. A roaring filled my ears. Ryan turned to me, his smile faltering. "Babe, But I was already gone. I don't remember walking out. One second, I was in that suffocating room, drowning in the whispers and knowing glances. The next, I was outside, gasping for air, the cold night air biting my skin. "Claire." Ryan's voice cut through the noise of my pulse pounding in my ears. Heavy footsteps followed as he caught up to me in the driveway. "Just wait, please. Let me explain." I whirled around so fast he nearly ran into me. "Explain?" My voice cracked. "You just gave my sister a bracelet calling her the mother of your child. What the hell is there to explain?" His mouth opened, then closed. For the first time in our 5-year marriage, Ryan looked truly afraid. "It's not," he scrubbed a hand through his hair, glancing back toward the house where people were starting to peek out the windows. "Not here. Let's just go home, okay? We'll talk." I let out a hollow laugh. "Home? With you?" The front door opened, and she stepped out. Emily. She didn't look embarrassed or guilty. She looked smug. "Claire, don't be so dramatic," she purred, her arms crossed over her belly like a queen surveying her kingdom. "You're making a scene." I lunged before I even realized what I was doing. Ryan grabbed my arms, holding me back just as Emily let out a breathless, fake little gasp. "Oh my God, Claire. Are you really going to attack a pregnant woman?" My stepmother's voice came from behind her. "Claire. Enough." I froze. Slowly, I turned my head to see her standing there, lips pressed in disapproval. My father was behind her, looking away, as if this whole thing was just unfortunate, but not his problem. And just like that, it clicked. They knew. My father's silence. My stepmother's cold, expectant gaze. Emily's lack of fear. They had known. All along. "You've got to be kidding me," I whispered. Emily sighed. shifting her weight. Look, I wasn't planning to tell you like this, but since you're acting crazy. I laughed. Actually laughed. You're unbelievable, I said, shaking my head. How long? Ryan stiffened beside me. Claire. How? Long. Emily smirked. Wouldn't you like to know? Something inside me snapped. You're disgusting, I spat. My eyes cut to Ryan. And you? You're pathetic. Ryan flinched. Good. I turned back to my father, my stepmother. And you too? You let this happen. My stepmother lifted her chin. We're thinking about the baby, Claire. Oh. Oh, that was rich. The baby? I repeated, my voice eerily calm. Or the money? Her lips pressed tighter. Because I knew the truth. Emily wasn't just the favorite daughter. She was the one set to inherit everything. The family money, the estate, the assets, everything was meant to be hers. That's what my stepmother had always pushed for. And Ryan had married me thinking it would eventually be mine. He hadn't fallen for Emily. He'd fallen for the promise of a bigger payout. But there was one thing none of them knew. I was the one paying for everything. The house? Mine. The accounts my father still used? Funded by me. The family business Ryan was waiting to inherit? It was in my name. And they were about to find out. Silence stretched between us. Emily's smirk didn't falter, but there was something in her eyes now, uncertainty. Ryan shifted beside me, his mouth opening and closing as if he were still scrambling for a lie that would make this all go away. But nothing could. Not now. I took a slow, steadying breath, then turned to my stepmother. You really thought I was just going to roll over and accept this? She sighed, rubbing her temple like I was an inconvenience. Claire, you're upset. But let's be rational here. Emily is pregnant. She's carrying the next generation of this family. And? I said flatly. And that comes with responsibilities. Financial responsibilities. You, more than anyone, should understand that. There it was. Not even 5 minutes into their pitiful attempt at gaslighting, and they were already circling back to what they really wanted. Money. Ryan tensed. He was catching on now, realizing that this wasn't going how he expected. You expect me to support them? I asked, tilting my head. After this? My stepmother smiled in that condescending way she always did. It's not just about support, darling. It's about what's fair. You have the means, and Emily. Emily is a grown woman who made her choices, I cut in coldly. Emily scoffed, crossing her arms over her stomach. Honestly, Claire. I'm having a baby. This is bigger than whatever little grudge you're holding. I almost laughed. The sheer audacity. A grudge. I repeated. You betrayed me. You slept with my husband. Technically, he slept with me, she shot back with a smirk. Ryan's head snapped toward her, his face paling. Oh, so now he didn't like how it sounded? I stared at my sister, at the woman who'd spent her entire life taking what wasn't hers, and finally, something inside me settled. I was done. All right, I said simply. Emily blinked. What? You want financial support? Fine. But I think we should do this the right way. Legal documents, asset transfers, all of it. I pulled out my phone and scrolled for a moment before hitting call. Ryan's eyes widened. Claire, who are you calling? My lawyer. Emily frowned. Wait, what? Right now? Why not? I smiled, holding up a finger as the line rang. If we're making things fair, might as well do it properly, right? Ryan took a step closer, lowering his voice. Claire, let's just go home and talk. Oh, we will, I murmured, keeping my eyes on Emily. Just not the way you were hoping. The call connected. Hey, Mark, I said, my voice bright, almost cheerful. I need you to start drafting paperwork. Turns out my husband and my sister think they're entitled to my assets, so let's go ahead and make it official. Emily paled. Wait, what? My stepmother's face twisted. Claire, don't be ridiculous. Oh, I'm not, I said sweetly. I'm just making sure we all understand exactly who owns what. Ryan exhaled sharply, rubbing his face. Claire, come on, you're overreacting. Am I? I turned to him fully. Because I'm thinking you should be more worried about what's going to happen to you when you realize you just lost everything. His jaw clenched. Claire, I didn't marry you for the money. I laughed. Actually laughed. That's adorable, I said. Because I just found out that the only reason you got involved with Emily was because you thought she'd be inheriting everything. Emily sucked in a breath. Ryan, what is she talking about? His lips parted, but no words came out. And just like that, she finally got it. Emily turned on him, eyes wide. Wait, you didn't want to be with me? You just thought. Emily, that's not. You absolute scoundrel, she whispered, stepping back. You're nothing but a weasel in a nice suit. Ryan's face twisted. Oh, now I'm the bad guy? He scoffed. You knew exactly what you were doing. You wanted to take everything from her. Emily's hands trembled as she pointed at me. Yes, but I wasn't foolish enough to think I was with you for love. My stepmother cut in, her voice sharp. Enough. Both of you. She turned to me, her expression tight. Claire, this is family. You can't just walk away. I met her gaze, unblinking. Watch me. And then I turned on my heel and walked back to my car. They called after me, Ryan, Emily, even my father. But I didn't look back. Not this time. I drove in silence, my fingers gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles ached. My phone buzzed repeatedly in the cup holder. Ryan, Emily, my father. I ignored them all. I needed time to think. Time to process the absolute disaster that had just unfolded. By the time I reached my house, my mind was clearer. Not calm, no. The rage still simmered just beneath the surface, but focused. I parked in the driveway and sat there, staring at the home I had built. The home I had paid for. The home that, if Ryan had his way, he would have stripped from me and handed to my sister like some kind of parting gift. Not happening. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I found the one person I needed right now. Mark Reynolds, attorney. He picked up on the second ring. Claire? I was just about to call you back. What's going on? I exhaled slowly. I need to start divorce proceedings. Immediately. There was a pause, then a soft sigh. I had a feeling this was coming. Does he know yet? Oh, he'll figure it out soon enough. And the assets? Are we protecting everything? I smiled coldly. Already handled. I made sure long ago that Ryan wasn't tied to anything financially. The house, the accounts, the investments, all in my name. He just doesn't know it yet. Smart, Mark said approvingly. But I assume he thinks he's entitled to something? More than something, I muttered. He thinks he's entitled to everything. Mark let out a low whistle. Then I suggest we make this airtight. Come to my office first thing in the morning. We'll get the paperwork started. And Claire? Don't let him manipulate you. He's going to try. Let him try, I said darkly. It won't change a thing. I ended the call and finally stepped out of the car. The crisp night air did little to cool the fire burning inside me. I walked into my house and locked the door behind me, leaning against it for a moment. Then, as if the universe couldn't let me have even a second of peace, someone knocked. Not just knocked, pounded. I closed my eyes, already knowing who it was. I opened the door just enough to see Ryan standing there, his face tight with frustration, his jaw clenched. Claire, let's talk. There's nothing to talk about, I said flatly. He exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. Come on, don't be like this. We need to figure things out. I let out a humorless laugh. Oh, now you want to figure things out? Funny, you didn't seem too interested in that when you were toasting my sister as the mother of your child. Ryan had the nerve to look annoyed. You're blowing this out of proportion. I leaned against the doorframe, folding my arms. Am I? You had an affair with my sister. You let me look like a fool in front of my entire family. And now what? You think you can just talk your way out of it? He sighed, rubbing his face. I made a mistake, all right? But you're acting like I planned this, like I wanted to hurt you. I tilted my head, feigning curiosity. Oh! So you just accidentally ended up in my sister's bed? Multiple times? His jaw tightened. Claire. No, I cut him off, my voice steel. You don't get to spin this. You don't get to rewrite the narrative. You cheated. And you would have never told me if I hadn't found out tonight. Ryan exhaled slowly, then took a different approach. His expression softened, his voice lowering. Look, I know I messed up. But we've been together for years. That means something, doesn't it? You and I, we built a life together. I stared at him, my grip tightening on the door. Correction, I said. I built a life. You just lived in it. He flinched. Good. Claire, please, he murmured, stepping closer. I don't want to lose you. I held his gaze for a long moment, then said simply, you already did. Then I shut the door in his face. The next morning, I was up early, dressed in a crisp blazer, my hair sleek and professional. Today was business. By the time I arrived at Mark's office, he already had a stack of papers waiting. We'll file immediately, he said as I sat across from him. Given that everything is in your name, Ryan has no legal claim to any of it. He might try to fight, but he won't win. I nodded. Good. And I want it done quickly. No drawn-out battles. Mark smirked. That can be arranged. And what about your sister? I considered that. I don't care what happens to Emily. She made her bed. He tapped a pen against his desk. You might not have to do anything. Once Ryan realizes he's not getting a cent from you, he'll turn on her. It's just a matter of time. I leaned back in my chair, the thought sending a cold sword of satisfaction through me. Let him. 2 weeks later. Mark was right. Emily called me crying. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity won. Claire, he left me. She sobbed into the phone. I blinked. Excuse me? Ryan. He found out the baby isn't his and he's gone. He won't answer my calls. He moved out. I inhaled sharply. I should have been furious. I should have felt betrayed all over again. Instead, I smiled. That's unfortunate, I said, completely devoid of sympathy. Claire, please, Emily sniffled. I need help. I can't do this alone. I stared at the wall, letting her desperation sink in. Then, with the calmest voice I'd ever used, I said, that sounds like a you problem. And then I hung up. I sat in my sunlit kitchen, sipping coffee as my phone vibrated again. Emily. Her name flashed across the screen for the 5th time that morning. I ignored it. I had no interest in cleaning up the mess she made. 2 weeks ago, my life shattered. Now, the people who had broken it were watching their own world crumble, and I wasn't about to save them. The last time I had spoken to my stepmother, she had the nerve to say, Claire, we're family. You need to help your sister. I had simply replied, you chose who your real daughter was a long time ago. Live with it. I blocked her number that same night. But Emily? She was relentless. As if on cue, another message popped up. Emily, Claire, please. Just talk to me. Emily, I know I messed up, but I don't have anyone else. Emily, I lost my job. I can't pay rent. I need your help. I exhaled slowly, debating whether I even wanted to respond. But before I could decide, the doorbell rang. I already knew who it was. I let her wait. 5 minutes passed before I finally opened the door. Emily stood there, her once perfectly styled hair now a tangled mess, dark circles beneath her swollen eyes. She looked nothing like the radiant woman who had smirked at me during her baby shower. Claire, she croaked. I leaned against the door frame, sipping my coffee. What do you want? She let out a shaky breath. I need somewhere to stay. I arched a brow. You have a mother. Ask her. Emily swallowed hard. She won't help me. She and Dad aren't answering my calls. They're furious with me for ruining everything. I almost laughed. Ruining everything? That was rich, coming from her. So let me get this straight, I said. Mom and Dad turned their backs on you. Ryan abandoned you. You lost your job, and now you've come to me? The sister you betrayed? Her eyes welled with tears. Claire, I know I don't deserve your help, but please. I have nowhere else to go. I stared at her, thinking about all the times I had put her needs before my own. All the times I had let my stepmother push me aside for her. The years of sacrifices. The endless manipulation. I thought about how she had stood beside my husband, wearing a smug smile, acting as if I was the one being irrational. I thought about that bracelet. You didn't seem to care when you were taking everything from me, I said coolly. Now you want my pity? Emily wiped her face. Claire, please. I can't afford my apartment. I have bills. The baby. Not my problem, I cut in. She let out a choked sob. You can't just leave me like this. I tilted my head. You mean the way you and Ryan left me? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Good. I survived, I continued. You will too. But you won't do it with my help. I stepped back, ready to close the door, but she grabbed my arm. Claire, wait. Just lend me some money to get back on my feet. I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Oh, Emily. If I start saving you now, you'll never learn, will you? Her grip loosened. You're really going to do this? I'm just giving you what you deserve, I said softly. Then I shut the door in her face. And for the first time in my life, I felt free. 6 months later. The past felt like another lifetime. Ryan was gone. He had moved to another state, trying to outrun his ruined reputation. Last I heard, he was living in a tiny apartment, struggling with debt and barely keeping a job. Emily? She moved back in with our parents. They resented her for losing Ryan, and she resented them for abandoning her when she needed help. Their perfect family was officially destroyed. And me? I was thriving. I had thrown myself into my work, focused on my future. I traveled, met new people, built a life that was mine alone. One afternoon, as I was leaving my favorite cafe, I ran into my father. I almost walked past him, but he called my name. Claire, wait. I turned, raising a brow. What is it, Dad? He shifted uncomfortably. Your mother wants to see you. She regrets how things turned out. I let out a small chuckle. Does she? Or does she just regret losing access to my money? His silence was all the answer I needed. Tell her I said no. I turned to leave, but he grabbed my arm. Claire, please. We're still family. I looked him in the eye, my voice steady. No, Dad. We're not. Then I walked away. And I never looked back.